Hello my dears and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon and today I've got another spoiler-free book review to share with you guys. And today we are talking about Small Town Horror by Ronald Malfi. Now this was the first book that I've read from this author. I requested it on NetGalley because, I mean, the cover's beautiful, the title's intriguing. I was like, let's see what this is all about. It comes out, I believe, the beginning of June. I'll put the exact date down in the description box. But yeah, beginning of June. And you guys, this was so good. This book was, like, this author, first of all, the writing's so beautiful. Like, you're reading the most terrible things, but just the way that he words things, the way that he phrases them, it's so beautiful. Anyway, so let's get into a little bit of what this is about. Again, no spoilers here, but it was so good. This is 5 stars for me, and I cannot wait to read more from this author. He's got a backlist. I'm gonna go check it out. Anyway, this book is about a man named Andrew, and he's about 35. He's kind of a big shot lawyer in New York City, and one night, well, first of all, he's got a pregnant wife named Rebecca, and she's getting towards the end of her pregnancy, and he's got a lot of anxiety. He kind of chalks it up to being a first-time dad and, you know, just being nervous about her giving birth and becoming a dad. Anyway, one night he gets a phone call from an old friend of his named Dale, who he hasn't seen in many years. A guy he grew up with back in his hometown, and he left that town when he was 18, and he, like, never looked back. His dad died 6 years previous, and he inherited the house, which he still hasn't sold, but, like, he never goes back there. Dale calls him, and he's like, I need you to come back first thing in the morning. And at first, Andrew's thinking to himself, like, not a chance am I doing that. But there's something about the way that Dale sounds, the kind of frantic, frenzied panic in his voice that makes him, you know, second guess that, and he does go back. He tells his wife that he has to go away on a business trip. He doesn't tell her where he's going, and he goes back. Now, so this is kind of like something bad happened 20 years ago, and now all of the people who were involved have come back together. And I've read a good few books with that sort of premise, but this one, it was just different. It was just different. And, like, so he goes back. I'm trying not to say too much. It's so hard. He goes back. So there was 5 of them involved in an incident that happened on July 4th, 20 years ago. 2003. So it's him and his friend Dale who had called, and their friend Meech, their friend Eric, and a girl named Tig. So basically what Andrew finds himself going back into is, on the surface, his friend Dale's wife has gone missing. There's been something off about her for about a year, and no one knows where she is. And, yeah, from there it just snowballs. It just snowballs. And the way that Ronald builds the tension in this book is so incredible. By the time I got to, like, 2/3 of the way in, that final third, I was scared to death. And, like, there's not a lot of books that, like, especially when you read a lot of horror, you kind of build up, I guess, a tolerance to it, but this one got me. It got me. There were a few passages, like, I got goosebumps. It was so scary. It was so scary. It was so good. So if you like those kind of books where it's like something terrible happened, now everyone has to come back together many years later to figure out what's going on. Is it a haunting? Are they cursed? What's going on? And just the way it all snowballs is incredible. The ending was fantastic. I loved every second of it. And that's really all I can say about small town horror without saying too much. But definitely mark your calendars for this one if you love horror. If you've read from this author before, it's so good. And if you haven't, I mean, I can only speak of this book because I haven't read the others, but for me it was a great place to jump in, and maybe it would be for you as well. So that's gonna do it for small town horror. So good. Next up, I'm gonna be reading from my podcast that I have with my friend Krista, THC Library. We're gonna be reading Death in Her Hands by Otessa Moshfegh. I've heard a lot of mixed opinions on this one, but Kayla at Books and Lala, she gave it 5 stars, and I've heard like it's just a weird book. So anytime she gives a weird book 5 stars, I'm like, oh, I might love it too, because we tend to have sometimes similar tastes. So I'm also going to do a book talk on that, and then there'll be the podcast episode later in the month. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you're having a good weekend if you're watching this when it gets posted. Otherwise, I hope you're having a good day, and I will talk to you guys again real soon. Bye.